I want to talk to you today about how to achieve anything that you want, how to go anywhere in life using your golden ticket. Now, every year we are all given a golden ticket called time. Everyone has the same 24 hours, but only smart people maximize that time and use their golden ticket wisely to accomplish the goals and the dreams that they have in their heart. So let's look at 3 amazing strategies for achieving any goal that you want this year. And since this process is similar to traveling from one place to another or moving from where you are to where you would rather be by achieving some goal, I'm going to use a little bit of a travel theme for this session. So here are those 3 things using our travel theme that we're going to focus on doing to achieve your goal faster, easier, and better this year. The first is you got to pick your dream destination. The second is you have to set your internal happiness GPS. And the third thing is you have to decide on your personal route. So let's start by talking about picking your dream destination. If you've ever watched or read The Adventures of Alice in Wonderland, which was a novel written by Charles Dodgson in 1865, or if you've ever watched any of the many movie remakes, Disney and all of these people that made this classical story in the movies, you see an interesting scene unfold when Alice arrives at a junction in the road that leads off into many different directions. The Cheshire Cat is sitting in the tree and she says, "Cheshire Cat, would you please tell me which way I ought to go from here?" The cat smiles and he replies and he says, "That depends a good deal on where you want to go." Alice shakes her head and she says, "I don't much care where I'm going." The cat again smiles and responds and says, "Then it doesn't matter which way you go." And you know, this is exactly how most people live their lives. They live it without any clear sense of destination. And because they haven't decided on where they want to go, they often end up exactly where they really don't want to be. And quite frankly, that's just a stupid way to live. So you have to first decide on your goal achievement destination. You know, as we talk about achieving your goals, one of the most common roadblocks I've found that many people have is something called a knowledge gap. And all this simply means is that they often don't really know where to begin. So I want to begin walking you through something that I call the top 7 major goal categories. And these categories are important to life, to happiness, and a deep sense of achievement and success. Now, as we go through this list, I want you to understand that these are not goals. What these are is, these are goal categories. In essence, they represent the big picture, the 10,000 feet view of the areas that most of us want to achieve some important goal in. So here are the 7 top goal categories. I want you to write this down. The first is marriage and family harmony. And that has to do with relationships. The second is proper mindset and balance. And that has to do with emotional and mental wellness. The third category is a commitment to improve physical health. And obviously it is in the category called physical health. The fourth is career passion and personal satisfaction. And this is in the category called work fulfillment. The next is financial stability. And obviously that is in the category money and wealth. The sixth is continuing education or learning skills development. And this is in the category called growth. And then the last is expanding and growing faith. And this is in the grouping called spirituality. So those 7 areas are relationship, emotional and mental wellness, physical health, work fulfillment, money and wealth, growth, and spirituality. Those are the 7 top goal categories. Now, as you look at this list that you've written, I want you to see if anything connects with you. Is there anything that you feel most drawn to right now at this particular place where you're at in your life? Now, I want you to remember that you are using this listing to jumpstart your ideas about what you would like to focus on this year. So just let your imagination flow freely. Here's the next thing I want you to do. Using a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most satisfied and 1 being totally unsatisfied, using that scale 1 to 10, I want you to grade how satisfied you are in these 7 top life areas that we just talked about. The next thing that I want you to do is, as you look at your list, I want you to write down 3 of those 3 goal categories that right now you think that you want to focus on improving in your life and raising your satisfaction scores. Now, for this exercise, I only want you to pick 3 that you're most interested in right now. That doesn't mean that this can't change, and it doesn't mean it can't evolve as we go along, but just pick 3. And what we're going to do is we're going to call these 3 your big 3 categories. Good. So here's what we did so far. We looked at the big 7, or the 7 most notable goal categories that many people want to achieve something in during the year, and you narrowed that down to your big 3, which are the areas that you are interested in setting new goals in right now at this place in your life so that you can improve your satisfaction. So here's what we have done. You've picked now your dream destination, where you want to go. The next step in this process is step number 2, in which now we've got to set your internal happiness GPS. Now, GPS is not goal positioning satellite, but it is goal prioritizing system. Okay? And what this does is it helps us to surface your own unique reasons why, or why you have chosen these big 3 goal categories over all of the other goal categories that we talked about. Now, I want you to know that setting your happiness GPS is important to the process of achieving your goals, because there are often in our lives, as we go through the year, there are often a number of competing choices that we can take. And each one of those paths that we can take will lead us somewhere else. So we've got to be clear on our reason why we want to do a particular thing, or why we want to go after a particular goal within a set time frame. Otherwise, what happens is we get bombarded by so much stuff, we get flustered and overwhelmed, and then we give up easily. Because the truth is that things tend to get more challenging as we go along in our process of trying to achieve what we want to get done. So you need to give, or you need to add a sense of meaning to your goals. Or in essence, you will walk away from them as soon as the emotional excitement starts to dissipate. So this is very important. I was reading a story that is told that in November 1975, that 75 convicts started digging a secret tunnel designed to bring them up on the other side of the wall of Saltillo prison in northern Mexico. And so on April 18, 1976, guided by just pure genius, they tunneled up, but they came up into the nearby courtroom in which many of them had been sentenced. The judges were surprised, but they returned all 75 of those convicts to jail. So now here's the point. What is the use of going after something if it is not going to increase your happiness in some way, or it is not going to add value to your life? Why subject yourself to the discipline of focusing on achieving something if at the end of the process you are no happier or better off than you were before, or there is no real benefit or value that's added to your life? What I'm saying is, be smart and only go after what really helps you to achieve happiness, but make sure you've got a decent plan first. So before you set any goal in your life, you should first set your happiness GPS, your goal prioritization system, or your guiding compass. Now, to do this, you only need to do 3 simple things. Here's what those 3 things are. 1, determine your values. 2, define your outcome. And 3, detect your story. So taking these 3 simple steps will help you to better connect with the stronger reason why behind achieving your goals. Let's start with step number 3, determine your values, okay? So that you can start with your reason why. So what do you really value at this stage of your life? Now, this is important because your values serve as your guiding compass. Here's a short list of 12 values that people have in their lives. And as we go through this list, you can pick the ones that you like, or you can add to them however you like in terms to better define what you value in your life at this point. So some people value accomplishments. They value getting things done. Some people value adventure and excitement. Some people value faith and their spirituality. There are those that value freedom and fun. Some people value honesty. For some people, mastery and excellence is at the top of their list. Some people value self-expression. There are those that value clarity. Some people like community, where they stay connected to others. Then others value intimacy. Some people value integrity and keeping their head above board. Some people like aesthetics or beauty. Some prefer service and contribution. Others, creativity is a high value for them. And then others, commitment and being loyal is high value for them on their list. So again, feel free to add whatever other values or things that you consider important to your own list. But you've got to make this list, because as you look at your list, I want you to determine if there are any values, as we just went through this list, are there any values that stand out to you? And I want you to make a note of those values for you, because at this point, they are important to you. So I want you to take that moment and I want you to write those down, because these are clues which often reveal how you feel about life and what you feel is an important way to live. Now that we have a more visual depiction of what you value, let's move on to the next phase. The next phase is define your outcome. If there is one goal, or if there was one goal that you really wanted to achieve within the next 30 days, what would that goal be? I want you to go back to your big 3 goal categories. And I want you to just pick one category and think about something that you want to achieve within that particular category within the next 30 days. And as soon as you got that idea in your mind, I want you to write that down quickly. Now, we're famous for doing this, but don't edit yourself or don't think too deeply. Just write down something that will make you a little bit happier if you achieved it within that particular category in the next 30 days. Let's go on to the last step, which is to detect your story. I found that an often easy and overlooked way to help you understand what is important to you right now and why it is important is your own story. So to better explain this, let me give you a quick case study. So we have this guy, Tom. Tom is a 38-year-old father of 2 kids. And he has a wife. He has an 11-year-old son named Bobby. And he's got a 2-year-old girl named Brandy. One afternoon, Tom wasn't feeling well. And after much coaxing from his wife, Barbara, he finally agreed to see the family physician, Dr. Wheeler. So after running a few tests, Dr. Wheeler sat across from Tom and he silently began writing on his notepad. After a few moments of silence, Tom uncomfortably shifts from left to right on the inspection table and he quietly says, "Doc, what's the problem?" Dr. Wheeler, who's a senior physician in his 70s, he peers over the rim of his wide glasses and he says, "Tom, this is the 3rd time I've given you my professional advice to improve your lifestyle habits, to exercise, to eat healthier, but it seems you're still ignoring my advice. So let me ask you a simple question, Tom. Are you okay with another man walking Brandy down the aisle at her wedding in your place?" Tom is stunned and he sharply responds, "No, doc." "Well," the doctor says, "if you don't reset your life and health, I am not confident that you will be around to give your daughter's hand to the man who would have stolen her heart." Well, needless to say, Tom followed Dr. Wheeler's instructions. He changed his lifestyle and his health has significantly improved. And nowadays, whenever his buddies see Tom working out in the gym or choosing healthier food options in the cafeteria, they'd laugh and they'd make fun of him because they felt that if he's given a few weeks, that Tom would probably be right back to his old self. But after months of his new healthy lifestyle changes, they too became convinced that Tom had really changed as he valued good health and family at a different level that they have seen him care about before. The point is this: Tom's shifted values had a powerful personal story behind them. So let me ask you this: what is your story behind your values? Because as we have discussed, your story of why will often serve as your motivation to keep going when things get challenging. So let's look at the final step in this powerful process, which is deciding on your personal route for achieving your goals. Because as you know, we are all different. So one size never fits us all. Now, firstly, I think that we've got to realize that everyone is different. And the reason people often fail is simply that they often try to use a cookie cutter type strategy without modifying those strategies to fit their unique lifestyle and their unique life situations. So in essence, I found that we often struggle to stay committed to achieving our goals because they sometimes clash with the process of how we live our lives from day to day. But I've learned that you can often fix this conflict by simply scheduling your goals as a part of your daily routine. So to show you how to schedule your goals as a part of your existing lifestyle to create a personal route or path to achieving them, let me walk you through a brief example using my personal daily schedule so you can see how I do things and you can probably better understand that I'm personally doing exactly what I'm sharing with you. So in essence, I'm a student as well. So let's start with a few big areas that are important to me. Now, I know I told you 3, but I'm going to look at 5. So here are my 5 goal categories, and they are in no particular order. They are spirituality and faith, finances, wealth and money, physical health, personal growth, and family. Those are my 5 areas. Now, this doesn't exclude the other areas of my life, but I'm using this for the simplicity of this exercise. So let me give you a walkthrough, a sample of what my daily routine looks like. So 6:30 a.m. to 7:15 a.m., I'm usually, after I get up, I'm usually in prayer and meditation. So in that time, I'm focusing on spirituality. Then from 7:15 a.m. to 7:30 a.m., I'm reading. I'm focusing now on growth. From 7:30 a.m. to 7:45 a.m., I'm walking on the treadmill or I'm walking through the neighborhood into the park. So I'm now focusing on health. Then from 7:45 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., I have breakfast and I move to get ready for work. 8:30 a.m., I head off to the office. Then from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., I do the work that I need to do in my office. From 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., I have lunch. I relax in the park. I read. I take my wife out for lunch. But now I get a chance to focus on growth again. Then from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., I focus on the work I need to complete before the end of the day. At 5:30 to 6:30 for that hour, I begin to work on other side projects that I'm working on, which now allows me to focus on other areas of wealth and finances. And then from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., I spend time with my family, whether we're watching a movie or having dinner or playing some games. And so now I'm focusing on the family component of my goal categories. Then from 9:30 p.m. to 10 p.m., I read, I plan important tasks for the next day. So I'm again focusing on growth and planning. At 10 p.m., I'm in bed. And so that is my daily routine as I go through it. And the truth is, it shifts depending on the days. There are some things that I do on Mondays that I don't do on Wednesdays, or some things I do on Thursdays that I don't do on Fridays. Saturdays and Sundays have a totally different direction. But those are the things, the major things that I focus on during the course of the day. And that's my daily routine. The point that I want you to see is that I have purposefully built my goals into my lifestyle, and I plan my daily routine in a way that works for me. Now, this allows me to enjoy a good quality of life. And isn't that what we all want? A good quality of life? I've learned that you don't really have to make massive, drastic changes to see results with your goals. And many times, just having a clear path and making tiny adjustments can give you all that you want. So here's a question that I know that you're probably already thinking in your head. You're probably thinking, that sounds great, Conrad, but what happens when something throws your schedule off? Here's my simple answer. I just make the adjustments, because most of the times I've learned that the interruptions in my schedule are only temporary. So you can make any adjustments, because after all, it's your schedule, isn't it? So I don't stress over it because of two simple understandings. The first is that life happens. In essence, things come up unexpectedly that you have to deal with. You know, you can't foresee if or when your kids or your spouse will suddenly get sick. So you live in the present moment and you deal with whatever comes, because you have the power to manage how you respond to life. Then the second thing is, my schedule is only a tool to keep me focused. And I use it as a tool to help me, not to control my existence and my happiness. So there are times when I may take a short break and ignore a few parts of the schedule for an entire week while I'm on vacation with my family. I know in the end that I'm disciplined enough to begin again and to stick with it, because I know my destination. I know what I value as important, and there's a story that connects with each of my goals as to why I want to achieve them. So therefore, I have enough motivation to get back on track when I fall off the wagon. So here's what we did together today. We discussed the top 7 goal categories. Then you narrowed them down to your big 3 categories of focus. We talked about setting your happiness GPS and connecting with your values, your outcomes, and your story to help you determine your reason why. And we talked about how to look at the process of deciding your personal route to your goals by tapping into the power of your daily routine and lifestyle and making those minor tweaks to achieve anything that you want in life. I hope you enjoyed this session as much as I have. If you're on Facebook, don't forget to like our page. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe to our channel so that you get notified as soon as I release more fresh content. Also, you can find more resources over at our website, purposeunleashed.com. This is Conrad L. Jones saying, live your life purposefully, passionately, and uniquely great. And have a wonderful day, and see you in the next episode.